I would like to welcome on stage Simon Grant, CEO of SciBase. Please give a warm hand for Simon.
Thank you. And it's good to be here and present in front of real people for once. SciBase is based here in Stockholm. We're traded on Nasdaq First North. We're a company that focuses on skin disorders. And we work primarily with dermatologists and allergists. And we've been a pioneer within AI, within medtech. We had one of the absolute first products to be approved that is based on AI. And we're in our second generation of AI. There's a lot of companies talking about AI. We actually have products that have been used in over 150,000 clinical patients. Our first product is called Nevisense for melanoma detection. And we're a commercial phase company. Now, we're past the technical, the regulatory, and the clinical risk. We're growing. And after some tough years, things have really taken off, and we have some real momentum this year. We're up 65, 66%. We're growing. We focus on two key markets, Germany and the US. And we've grown in Germany, and we're growing very well in the US as well. And our business model is an electrode or a consumable model. And we see that use of our test is growing very well. And at the same time, we've doubled the number of new installations during this year. So things are going well. And another good result from our Q2 report was that we reached 70% in gross margin for the first time. This is going to go up and down as we go forward, but overall, we're heading to where we want to be with the product in terms of gross margin. We work with three different areas. And Torbjörn talked about areas that are big enough. And these are all big areas, significant markets. Melanoma is very common. It's one of the fastest growing cancers, very common in Sweden. And what we do there is we help clinicians do better detection. And I'll talk about that. There's melanoma and there's non-melanoma skin cancer. And melanoma is the most dangerous, but non-melanoma skin cancer is 10 times more common. And this last year, we released a second indication that's for non-melanoma skin cancer. And the third area is called skin barrier. And skin barrier is really a set of indications, a group of indications to do with the integrity of the skin. So all of our products are to do with skin, and they're all based on a single platform that we call EIS together with AI. So EIS stands for electrical impedance spectroscopy. And what we do is we have an electrode. This is the consumable. We press it against the skin, and we send small electrical signals through the skin, and we measure how they change as they pass through the skin. This tells us about the structure of the skin. And based on these changes, you can't expect a clinician to interpret the signals. We have an AI system that then classifies those signals and gives a risk score to the clinician. And we know we give a score between 1 and 10, for example, for melanoma. 0 to 3 is negative. 4 to 10 is positive. The higher the score, the more likely it is that it's a melanoma. So this is the core of what we do. We have a technology platform based on artificial intelligence and EIS. And we started with melanoma, and then we're adding further indications. And again, our business model is an electrode. There's one electrode for every patient. One of SciBase's strengths is regulatory. And this is kind of boring, but it's actually really, really important. It becomes more and more important as we go forward. We are the only FDA-approved device for melanoma detection in the US. That took us 8 years, but we're the only one. We're the only device approved in Europe under the new MDR regulations. MDR is much tougher than the previous rules, and they became mandatory last year. So we're really strong in this, and this positions us. This is a real help for us against competition. None of our competitors have this. We also have good IP, and the whole, these two things together help us protect our position. So if I start with melanoma, what do we do within melanoma? Well, you see the graph on the left. This is the mortality rate after 5 years. The earlier you can detect melanoma, the more likely you are to cure it. So early detection is everything. And today's methods, they're very subjective. They're essentially visual evaluation using something called a dermatoscope or naked eye. And if you're really good, that's fine. But there's a huge variability in clinicians' ability to detect melanoma. And the real challenge is an early melanoma. Small early melanoma is hard to detect, and that's our sweet spot. That's how our pivotal study was designed, to look at these really small, difficult lesions. We did the largest study ever done within the detection of melanoma. And in general, our data is excellent. We have 85 publications within using our methodology. So we have really good data here within melanoma. We can detect melanoma, we can detect it earlier so you can do something about it. And as I said, we're the only FDA-approved device and the only MDR-approved device for melanoma detection. This is some recent data. We just went out with a press release this morning on the data on the left. This is 230 clinicians, US dermatologists. And they can use naked eye. This is what we call clinical images. They can use dermoscopy, and you can see there's a small improvement there. But the absolute best is to use EIS as well, Nevisense. 230 clinicians doing 35,000 evaluations. So this was published this week. That's good, but the real value is the graph on the right. This is from 650 clinicians in the US. And what we found is that we could reduce the number of missed melanomas dramatically by adding EIS. And in the US, this is it's important everywhere, but in the US, this is obviously extremely important. Our expansion strategy is really about three things: US melanoma sales, penetration into the US, and there it's very much about unlocking reimbursement. Reimbursement is everything. And there we have made some steps. I'll take you through those steps. But reimbursement is the key for us in the US. We are working with large groups of dermatology clinics, practice groups. So we work together with them. This is a very effective way to approach this market. We don't have to sell one system here and one system here. We work with 3 different groups, and through them we have access to 200 clinics. The second area is non-melanoma skin cancer. We've created this platform, electrode plus EIS plus artificial intelligence, and we've added the second indication. And that is helping us grow really well in Germany. We're at 55% this year in Germany. And Germany is the clinic where we have 300 installations already. So a further indication based on the same technology, the same platform, is really helping drive us forward. Then we're looking at US as well for this, adding this so that we can have both melanoma and non-melanoma skin cancer on the same device. The third area I'll talk about a little bit later on, but skin barrier is a global market. And this is today about research and industry partnerships. And I'll take you through that. But it's a really exciting new area for us. So if we start with US, as I said, reimbursement is the key. We're working with these dermatology networks, Advanced Dermatology, based out of Florida, as an example. And the way the US works, and our strategy is that we first work with Medicare. There are 8 Medicare contractors around the US, and we work with 3 of them today, and 2 of them are paying for our test. They're not paying at the level we want them to pay, but they're paying for our test. And this is a great step, and we work there to improve the level of payment. We're also working with private payers. We've started working in this quarter with private payers, and we've approached the first 2 of those private payers. So it's a combination of Medicare for 65 plus and private payers. There's about 6,000 clinics we see as an accessible market, and we believe that the market just for melanoma, we're about 2.3 billion kroner a year. This is a lot of tests being done every single day. And I've been out in the clinics, and I've met all the clinicians. They see real value in this test. And they see 20, 30 patients a day. So this process for unlocking reimbursement, we start with getting approved, and then you get your own code. We got that, it became live in 2021. And then we go working with these MACs, these Medicare contractors. And we have 2, Novitas and First Coast. This is Florida. This is the Mid-Atlantic and the Central US who are paying today. And we work with them to get an appropriate level. And at the same time, we work with the private payers. And this takes time, but we're making progress all the time, and we will work our way across the US, adding further MACs as we go. Germany has been our key market. As I said, we have about 300 installations, that's 300 customers, doing about 10,000 tests a quarter. And we have great support from societies, from key opinion leaders, and we're the only MDR-approved device for both melanoma and non-melanoma skin cancer. And it's growing well, as I said. So the good thing is, even though we have 300 clinics, which is about 10% of the market, we're still growing very well, 55% this year. Non-melanoma skin cancer, the second indication, based on the same platform. About half of our customers so far have upgraded to this. It's a software add-on. They keep the same equipment. They use the same electrode. They just add in a new software. And the customer group sees both of these patients. We have great data, more great data, and again, the first product approved under MDR. So this is helping to drive our growth in Germany. And then the third area is skin barrier. And I want to take some time to talk about this because it's a really exciting space for us. So we actually have been working with skin barrier for many years, but about 5 years ago, a group in Switzerland took our device without us knowing and started applying it to this area. And what is skin barrier? Well, the skin basically stops water getting out and allergens and irritants getting into the skin. When that works, it's fine. But when you have a defective skin barrier, one of the things you get is eczema. Another consequence of a poor skin barrier can be food allergies. Through the skin, allergies begin, and through diet, you keep them quiet. People don't know this, but over the last 4 or 5 years, this has become really understood. Skin barrier is absolutely critical for many diseases. And there, we are the only product available which can test this in a clinical setting. One of the most common atopic skin barrier-related diseases, that's eczema, atopic dermatitis or eczema. It's very common. Some say the most common chronic disease. 7% of adults, 20% of children. We've all been there with the children getting eczema. Of that 7%, 40% are chronic. These are people who need a lot of help, and there are no really good tools today to evaluate the status of the skin barrier and how it help these clinicians to manage these atopic dermatitis patients. There's 3 things we do here. We can help predict the development of atopic dermatitis. We can help measure the severity of atopic dermatitis, and we can help monitor atopic dermatitis follow-up or on an ongoing basis. And we have 20 studies running at the moment. Really interesting studies that all point to clinical indications. And where we're looking to go with this is to take our product, which today is focused on specialists, to take it to this form factor and even potentially smaller. This is the same device that we make, that you saw in the video, but it's shrunk into our own ASIC with its own inbuilt neural network. The first in the world. So using this device, you can do a 10-second evaluation, and you can evaluate the skin barrier of a patient. Now, there's a lot of interest in this, and as I said, we have a lot of studies going. We're working with different industry partners. And I just thought I'd show you this slide, because this is really illustrates, I think, the level of unmet need within atopic diseases. This is the growth of the drug Dupixent, dupilumab, monoclonal antibody for atopic dermatitis. This is just continuing. This is a blockbuster drug, and it's for atopic dermatitis. This is the first decent drug they've had for severe atopic dermatitis. But even with this, there's no way for clinicians to understand how bad the situation is from a skin barrier perspective, and we know that skin barrier and AD are very tightly intertwined. We provide clinicians a way to really understand their patients better, to, as I say, predict the development in infants, to measure the severity of atopic dermatitis, and then to monitor ongoing. One of the studies we have is in the home, to be able to measure this, patient measures on an ongoing basis to predict outbreaks, flares. And in doing so, in future, they should be able to proactively treat their flare. So this is a really exciting space for us. We have, as a company, we have these three areas, all based on the same platform. We have melanoma, and there things are growing very well. 65% this year, and we're positive about the future, very positive. We have this new indication, non-melanoma skin cancer, and we have skin barrier, which is a whole group of new indications. Again, all based on the same EIS plus AI platform. Thank you.